Well, good Wednesday morning, everybody. I am taking a stroll out to the potager because I want to show you what I am getting ready to tackle back here. I think I showed you yesterday, or if you follow me on Instagram, I did, that I removed huge masses of kale, of winter boar kale from the potager. And I took it out of what I think of as quadrant 2. I divide up the potager into 4 separate parts. I don't have Stuart today, so my camera work may not be optimal. But this area to the right as you walk into the potager that you see is empty, devoid now of anything but remnants of the kale and some other things. This is what I consider to be quadrant 2, and I'm getting ready to plant it with some tomatoes, most of which have largely volunteered. You can see them over there in the corner. The most success I have with tomatoes are just repositioning little starts that have gone to seed from the previous year. They tend to be really strong, really resilient, and to me, at least anecdotally, a little bit more disease resistant. So I'm going to clean out this bed. I'm going to first probably prune it. So I have done 2 major prunes to all of this boxwood so far this year, 2 or 3, I think 2. And this is the 3rd one. Now I have waited and I've let it get fairly shaggy, longer and fluffier than I normally allow, because there were a couple of different areas that had developed some spider mite, and in another video I'm going to tell you how I addressed that. And you can see how some of those areas were a little bit shorter, uneven, and I am waiting for those to grow out a bit before I give it another nice prune, because I want the next cut to hide that and, for lack of a better word, kind of heal those imperfections. But probably I'm getting ready to start. So I'll start with this quadrant number 2. I will prune it before I plant it. The soil in there isn't really too bad, but I will clean it up. I'll add a little bit of compost. I will add some probably organic granular espoma plant food. I'll try to put a link in the description of what I'll use. And then I will put in my tomatoes in the distance, and I'll show you this later. You can see I need to straighten those yellow tomato cages, but that's where I've got my peppers. So definitely the transition of cool season to warm season has begun. I'm going to get this planted. I always plant my tomatoes late. I am not one of those that wants to have the first tomato on the block. I find that the later I plant them, the better they do. And so I think it's going to be just fine. That way they also produce fruit well into the fall. And then there's lots and lots of work that needs to be done back here in the border. I've been working on some other projects that I think I have at least finalized for the moment, and then I'm going to move on. But I wanted to show you the potager in its shaggy state before I give it a good clip and I switch out the plantings. So that's what's going on in the potager today. And because I know you're going to ask, let me come over here. Forgive the light. But come over here and you can see, you'll ask me what my favorite pruners are. Let me get my shadow out of the way. They are Barnell pruners. I absolutely love them. Again, I will put a link at the bottom description. These are Barnell. You can see they come in, they've got a little protective plastic sheath. But I love them for many reasons. I'll do another video on that and some of my favorite tools in the garden in a separate video. So just a little heads up, that's what's going on in the garden today. And I will hopefully have an after to show you about that quadrant here pretty soon. Have a great Wednesday.